Hi. Um, I thought I would make a video update while I still can. Um, the last few months for me have been really rocky. Really, really tough. And this goes out to my kids and any of my friends and family that happen to stumble upon this. Yeah, it's really not been easy. Grant has been my rock. And when things went down a few months ago, he invited me to go out there and stay out there. And I decided I was going to stay here a bit longer and fight for my relationship with my kids. Fight for them. But he and I, discussed a whole plan of how it would be. I would go out there and that kind of thing. So my ex-husband again was trying to battle me for custody. Had been actually over the past few years and planting seeds with my kids and trash talking me basically whenever they were with him, especially with my son. At one point, my son London told me that he and his dad his dad discussed with him about how much he hated me and was very bitter towards me. So this is completely not scripted, but entirely overdue. It's a so anyhow, his dad had been on a campaign of denigration basically for the last several years. Actually, I began to notice it when actually before we moved to Ventura, when we were still in Pine Mountain Club, and my son started taking a liking to Japan, and at that time he was, I don't know, 8, 9 or something like that. And he was talking about how he wanted to go overseas with his dad to Japan. I said to myself, well, I'm not entirely comfortable with that yet, like having my baby go across that far away in a foreign country, and I don't know, it just kind of, I wasn't entirely comfortable with it at that time. So it began to be like this um, tug of war kind of a thing, like um, uh, London insisting that he wanted to go to Japan, and I said, okay, well, how about we, you know, maybe sometime, um, but I wasn't comfortable with it yet. Anyhow, um, so there's like kind of like this control battle of like, well, no, I want to, and Dad says he'll, you know, take me on international trips um, if I just live with him and don't live with you. And so during last year when he got a phone, actually, I noticed that, you know, his behavior at home got quite a bit more aggressive when he would kind of have a meltdown or something like that. And my intention was always to just sort of um, try to coach him out of, help him regulate his emotions and, um, you know, be there for him, um, help him to calm down at first, and then after a bit of time, maybe the next day, we would have a talk about it and talk about what happened and his feelings. And I would say, okay, well, it's totally fine for you to feel that way. That's okay, but you gotta regulate your behavior that goes along with that. And we would have a talk about it, and then it would be fine. I consider that I've always had a really close relationship with my son. I knew that his dad talked badly about me to them, and there were times when I had to have a discussion with his dad on the phone, and he would uh, berate me in front of them, or say mean stuff to me in front of them. So I guess I knew that it was happening in the background, but I didn't really know how much of it was happening. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. um, See, I didn't. I always just sort of thought in my own head that I could just counteract it by being a really good mom and um, just trying to be there for them as much as I could be, and buy them things and take them on trips when I could, and um, try to go do fun things with them, take them roller skating and um, trips to the beach and going out to eat, and the arcade, and going to the mall, and buying them treats and stuff when we were out, and um, uh, got some board games for us to play at home, and I even got Xbox on my computer so that I could play video games with my son and just check that out. At the time, he just complained that it was uh, like the frames per second were too slow or something like that. But that was already after a few years of this denigration. Um, Coming from the other end, I always really tried to. I'm sorry if this is going to be long. I'm not going to edit it. I always tried to be really peaceful and amicable with their dad, and you know, not talk bad about him to them. um, Not tell them bad stuff about their dad. um, or anything like that. And if I ever did ask, um, you know, has your dad said anything about me recently? Because sometimes they would tell me things that he'd said about me. But if I ever asked to try to like clear the air or clear anything up or anything like that, oh no, 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 everything. Oh no, he's perfect. No, he would never do that and say that about you or anything like that. Dad's perfect. um, from the studies that I've done, and I've looked into it extensively, and the studies that have been done out there, um, like scientific surveys, you can't manipulate a child's love. A child loves their parents naturally. Um, you know, even if the parent messes up and, you know, does something that they don't like or something like that, I'm not talking about extreme neglect or abuse, but I'm talking about like even if the parent slips up or, you know, they get mad at them for something, a child naturally loves their parents unless they've been really severely worked on and manipulated by another adult. Um, so I always used to tell people that London was the best hugger of anyone I'd ever met. He gave the best hugs. He could be so affectionate and so sweet. Um, and even though I was really kind of at the time, or well, yeah, over the past couple of years, you know, I had a couple of high pressure jobs. Um, Spending time with them and making sure I was available and with them and, you know, hanging out with them and stuff like that was always a priority for me. I sometimes felt like I didn't spend enough time, but I was really trying to work really hard to build a future life for them. Um, so London began to get kind of hateful towards me, and it was often over very little things, um, things that didn't make sense, things that normally wouldn't be um, something that someone would have a temper tantrum over, like wiping a kitchen countertop, or um, when I asked him to help me put the dishes away, um, or I could list a whole bunch of things that were kind of silly. Some, you know. But he seemed to take every opportunity to um, every opportunity that he could over the last year, year and a half, especially, to lash out at me and kind of get upset for no reason, or seemingly. And when I would try to help him with it, or talk with him about it, he wouldn't want to listen to me. Um, um, when I simply ask him to speak to me respectfully, um, that was a problem. Um, so the only times, I ever disciplined him, or tried to, was just for being disrespectful or unkind, or cussing at me or something like that, because he didn't want to do what he was told, or follow a rule or something, when rules are really basic. Um, follow the schedule to, like basically get up on time in the morning, go to bed on time, and yada yada, and, get along with others, kind of a thing. If you mess up, apologize, try to make it right again. Um, just be kind and respectful. Um, I started to notice him like really pulling away from me, and uh, almost sort of like he was embarrassed to show any sort of affection for me. And this would show up when I would try to talk to him when he was at his dad's. Just short one-word answers, as if like he would just lock up and wouldn't talk to me, like in front of his dad. Didn't want to show any kind of emotion anymore, or affection for me anymore. Like he was embarrassed by it. um, when he was with me, he would always tell me that he loved me, and that, yeah, but it started to, um, like he wouldn't say that he loved me in front of his dad, as if he was ashamed. Um, Nadia would, most of the time, she would try to defend me and say to her brother, and say, London, don't say that to mom. How could you say that? I mean, he would get really, really mean sometimes, like say really hurtful things to me. um, and she would say, London, don't say that to mom. Like, how could you? Um, Sometimes if he was throwing a tantrum or having a meltdown, um, she would try to intervene, um, and I'm regretful that sometimes I would try to stop her from intervening, because I felt like it was only adding, or it might only add to the situation, and he would get into something with her then. Um, Mainly, that's the only reason why I would say, like, like I appreciated her backing me up and stuff like that, but I was just afraid that she would, London would turn on her and start getting into it with her. So, Nadia, if you ever see this, I'm sorry that I was only trying to protect you from receiving that kind of, hatefulness and stuff like that. Um, and then after a while, I think she, it was really not fun for her. I think probably a lot of the denigration happened when Nadia was out with her friends, and um, while they were with their dad, and like in London, and his dad um, were, just one on one kind of a thing. And I think that London got a lot of validation from him if he were to say anything bad about me or embellish anything, or um, he'd get a lot of attention and validation from his dad about it. Um, and that would then, of course, encourage more. Um, and he told me about how he and his dad would, this was last year, probably in about, I think like September of 2024, he told me about how he and his dad often would talk about how much they hated me. And this was in the middle of a car ride, and I thought, oh, well, that's great. Just great, Leif. Okay, that's real great. Um, you don't do that with your kid. Uh, I mean, a good parent should never, no matter what you think about the other parent, or whether you might like them or not, um, no matter what that other parent has done in the past or whatever, you don't share that stuff with your kids, um, because a kid doesn't deserve to have his relationship with his other parent manipulated through your um, uh, expressing your views and venting your whatever to your kid. That's not okay. That's emotionally abusive, actually, to the kids. um, I love my son. In London, honey, if you ever see this, which I highly doubt you would um, see this, at least for a very long time. Um, I love you, and I don't think um, you could ever. Sorry. I don't think you could ever stop a mother's love. It's I really wanted to teach you or help you learn on your own how to be um, more in control of your own emotions and things like that, and be able to, um, you know, handle a conflict with a person, whether it's your family or anybody else, without losing control. And I know that, it's not always easy. Um, Certainly not as you're growing up, like, and I would often see him getting into stuff with his sister, and yeah. Um, and I had to try to help both of them. Um, so I was, still in it and still there and trying to be the best mom ever, and, cooking dinners and trying to think of ways to fun things for us to do on the weekends. I was starting to plan out summer camps and um, fun things for the kids to do. And anyway, so this is getting quite long, I know. Maybe I should edit this. Maybe I won't. So in March 4th, March 3rd, London had sent me a text that day. Mom, I can't wait to see you. Um, the next day, we were driving home from school, and I was picking up in the background that 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 their dad had been, you know, talking with them about leaving me. I knew. I could feel it. And Nadia, especially because she was turning 14, and she'd already told me that, her dad had made it known to her, well, when you're 14, you can choose where you want to live, and you can live with me, you know. Um, and especially the few months that, for a few months before they were taken, um, I felt her distancing. I felt that something was up, and she didn't. Well, she couldn't. She couldn't talk about it with me because she couldn't be honest with me about it because she didn't want to get in trouble. She didn't want to disappoint the other parent. She didn't want to start an argument about it. She didn't want to cause a scene. That's a terrible burden to put on a kid, to be talking to them about leaving their other parent and just live with me, leave your mom's place, and life will be so much better for you, and we'll go on international trips, and I'll be able to stop child support, so I'll be able to get us a bigger house, I'll get you your own room, and life will be great. That's what he told them. My son told me in a car ride to school one time that that's what he was planning, basically, it was in a moment of when he was upset with me over something. I guess because I had asked him to get up on time that morning, tried to get him out of bed, and he didn't want to get up on time, just usual stuff. And he was being really hateful with me and saying really nasty things to me that I didn't think were okay for a young boy to be saying to his mother, because it's just really disrespectful. So, pretty much just how I'm talking right now, I asked him to, look, that's not good manners. I would like you to be respectful with me. And then he'd get more upset. And then, no, I'm going to do whatever I want, In one of those moments, he told me about how you're not my mom. Yeah, Dad just calls you the babysitter when we're going to your place. Oh, I'm going to drop you off with the babysitter now. This is the fucking babysitter, my fucking mom. And he said in that conversation, he said that I was taking money from their dad and that I was taking him from his dad, keeping him from his dad, and that they would be able to have a big house if if they just left me. This broke my heart. And most of the time, I would just try to actually just suck it up and just go, okay, please be respectful. I wasn't berating him. That's not how that went. That was one of their dad's accusations in the court papers, whatever, moving papers. Wasn't berating him. I don't think that asking a child to be respectful to their mother is berating them. Simple, reasonable request. So anyhow, I knew this stuff was happening, but I just really just tried to keep my cool. And I knew that I couldn't ask them about it because they wouldn't be able to tell me. They wouldn't open up to me about it. They'd be afraid of getting in trouble. It's a really tough position to be in because you can't have any sort of open communication about it to bring it to light so that it's, when you can talk about something, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of lessens its power a little bit when you like recognize like, oh yeah, that's been happening. And you can just kind of say it for what it is. It's like the root cause of something will open the door to handling something. Okay, so anyhow, that Monday, March 3rd, I picked them up. We had a normal day. The next day, I noticed they were very tired when they got in the car. They were often very tired on Mondays. I guess their dad would keep them up sometimes on a Sunday night, but I always had a really pretty strict bedtime for school nights most of the time. Unless I was trying to be the cool mom, but every now and then, like school nights, I always tried to make sure they would get enough sleep. So the next day, on the Tuesday, London made some kind of offhanded comment in the car, and I went, hmm. And I said to him, well, but I would never abandon you guys. I said that. And he said something along the order of, he said, oh, but if we left by choice, or like, if something along the lines of like, oh, you wouldn't be abandoning us if we, like just left by choice, like just, went with that, and I went, huh, well, my dear son, uh, and I questioned him about it, and I said, well, what do you mean by that? No, of course, like, I'm never gonna give you guys up, like, you're my babies, my kids, I would never do something like that. And then he got upset at that, which was weird. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, um in my head, but at the same time I just tried to have a chill evening. I took them to the store that day to get them some after school snacks and stuff like that, and they were happy with that. And then we got home, and I really need to finish this. We got home, and was doing I was cooking dinner as usual, and never would have known that would have been our last dinner in our home. There. You never know when it's gonna be the last time. The last time that they hug you, the last time that they want to sleep next to you overnight because they had a bad dream or something. The last time when they ever call you mommy, or the last time that you go on a nice walk together and go to the park together. I put on a TV show at night. So my thing with London had been like, you know, improve your, just be respectful at home. Just, that's it. And then, yeah, I didn't say no to Japan when his dad asked me about it again a couple months ago. I didn't say no. I just said, oh, consider it. He wanted to take him over the summer. I said, okay, I'll consider it, we'll check that out. Meanwhile, I had organized a couple of meetings with his dad to try to it's so hard to talk about it. I had tried to I organized a couple of meetings with him to talk about moving the kids out of their school and discuss different options, and try to come to an agreement about it. And I also invited his dad out to a dinner with us at one of our local places that we went to in Ventura. Just as an act of, that was during the holiday season, as an act of peaceful co-parenting, trying Uh, and then, not that I want to hang out with their dad necessarily, but I was trying to do it for them so they could, you know, so their dad could see some of the places we would frequent in Ventura and kind of get to know our life there a little bit. And I had started talking to him about, well, wouldn't it be cool if like you moved out here to, I didn't know his plans already, but he said, wouldn't it be cool? It's like, I know you like surfing and stuff like that. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you moved out to Ventura? Like, we could all live in the same place and they could go to Ventura High School, and there's a really cool middle school there. And I was looking at, I had just recently got a job. It was a remote job, uh, marketing director, basically. It was a pretty full on, high pressure job. But anyhow, yeah, like we could all live in the same area, it'd be more convenient. Um, I just thought that we could have a really great, happy life living out in that area. I think it's more lush. The environment is more lush. There's Santa Clarita is very dry and very brown in the hills, and anyway, and in the summertime it gets obscenely hot. Um, and I just thought the kids would, enjoy living by the beach, and because we would go to the beach like every week, or you know, most most of the time, at least once we would go, even just to see it or hang out or go to the restaurant by the beach or something like that. So, um, and I mean, that's literally half the reason I moved to Ventura in the first place from Pine Mountain Club was because the kids said, yeah, the beach. Woohoo! We're going to live near the beach. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, great, And in the 3 years that I've been living here, see, it's been about 3 years, 4 years, 4 years, 3 years. Um, it's really grown on me, and just the weather is like so nice. It is so nice. It is so much nicer than Santa Clarita. Anyway, so I just kind of like spawned this idea, and I thought, let me just like bring it up and see, I thought, okay, well, maybe I can, show their dad how cool it is out here, how fun it is, how fun the downtown is. And the kids and I always have a good time here. And like, there's lots of places we go to that are like really fun. And yeah, so, but his response was, I'll consider it, but I can't break my lease until like, the end of 2025. So I can't do that. And uh, um, and then he started to say some things like, "Oh, I think the kids should be out here more." Anyway, so meanwhile, in the background, he's basically really kind of hard selling them on the idea of leaving my care and residence and just living with him. Um, which I wasn't really aware of how much was happening, but I just had this gut feeling about it. And especially with how my daughter had become, um, very withdrawn from me, whereas normally she was happy-go-lucky. We had a great relationship, and but she became very distant. And when I tried to, like, in a very patient and nurturing way, ask her, like, hey, honey, like, you know, it's okay, you can talk to me. What's on your mind, you know? And she'd say, oh, I'm just tired. Oh, I'm just, oh, nothing. Oh, Mom, see, like, you're doing it again. You're asking me this. Like, it's nothing. Stop. And what was happening in the background was very damaging, psychologically abusive, and I couldn't do a thing about it. Um, so, um, so March 4th, we're sitting and having dinner, and my son just somehow, he just was like, very like, to me, like, you know, this sort of thing. And I just kind of ignored it, but I tried to just ignore it and just, I put on a TV show. And because he likes Japan, there was this show about something about like uh, Japanese. It was about an American or a British person traveling to Japan and finding interesting things about Japan. So, because I knew he liked Japan, I put it on. But immediately, because I suggested it, he immediately was like very distasteful about it and like, no, I don't like this show. I was like, okay, well, you know, like, I had only just put it on, and I was like, well, maybe we could just check it out for maybe a minute or two and like see, like, anyhow. But he just seemed kind of disgruntled with me for no reason at all. Um, so then we finished dinner, and I was packing things up, and I asked the kids to go brush their teeth. For the life of me, I don't even remember what we had for dinner that night. But I know I cooked dinner. um, London was just in a mood. But again, there's this stuff happening in the background, which he has to constantly withhold from me. Can't talk about it with me, and has been going on for years. Um, so I asked him to go brush his teeth. Down at the end of the hallway, he got into a fight with his sister and they were arguing, yelling or something. And the bathroom door slammed shut, and Nadia was in the bathroom. London was upset that she wasn't letting him in the bathroom. So he was already pretty upset. I walked down to the end of the hallway to see what was going on. And he was there, and he was kind of yelling slash sputtering, she won't let me in the bathroom. And so I opened the door, and I saw that she was going in the bathroom. So I was like, oh, she's going in the bathroom. Come on, bud. Let's just go wait until she's done. And I reached out to sort of like guide him, just like, come on, let's go. Um, and he smacked my hand away, smacked at me. I reached out again, and I was trying to in some way comfort him. But he uh, raised his hand to smack me again. And I went like this, reflexively, in self-defense, like the hallway was dark, and I accidentally landed my hand landed there. I didn't mean to. It was a complete accident, and immediately afterwards, I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, London. Can I give you a hug?" And he became enraged. He basically, looking back on it, I feel that he took that as an opportunity to do everything he could to make the situation so dramatic so that he could just go to his dad's, because his dad meant a bigger house, international travel. He's got more money. He's got, he's been, building this up for a really long time with him. He punched me in the head like several times, and then he ran into my room, and I tried to open the door. He closed the door on me. He was very upset, and I asked him to, "Can I give you a hug, please? I'm sorry." But he basically had passed the point of no return. He then grabbed his phone and he called the police on me and told them that that I'd hit him, and wouldn't come out of my room. He texted his dad to, mom's being mean, mom hit me or whatever, and anyway, he hit me several other times and bit me. He ran into the laundry room and bit me on my elbow really hard, made it bleed. I had like bruises on me the next day. It was awful. It was completely awful, and I was dumbfounded. I was like, what the heck? Anyway, he created a big scene, and then he went outside and he was climbing the fence and saying, "Oh, I'll only come down if you let Dad have full custody." I was like, what? Listen, you can go to Japan, fine, okay, but sweetie pie, please get down. I was very concerned about him, quite honestly. Obviously, and I know, if other people see this, it'll be like, "Oh, it's all your fault. You're just a bad mom. You didn't do enough, or you didn't whatever." Like, I know what I know about what had been going on in the background, and it's no, I was not a bad mom. Tried my very best to help him, love him very much. What ended up happening was his dad had basically, through a series of blatant communication and planting seeds throughout the years, turned him fully against me. And I really only realized this after the fact. And I started kind of connecting the dots and putting two and two together. I did a lot of research on the subject of parental alienation, watched, I don't know, 50 hours of YouTube videos on all different sides and spectrums about the whole topic and the actual effect, damaging psychological effect it does have on kids. Really damaging. And if someone wants to go ahead and blame his behavior on me, um, um, that's just not the case. I'm not perfect. I'm by no means perfect at all. And I doubt anybody will actually watch this video this long. Um, I don't have the time to edit it. But anyway, I'll try to wrap it up. So basically, I was really traumatized by the whole thing. Very hurt. Um, their dad ended up uh, their dad ended up coming to get them, took them away that night. I didn't even see their dad. Um, I didn't know when I was going to see them again because I knew he'd been trying to take them from me. Um, he had threatened to a number of times in the past. Um, in fact, tried to take away my rights or take them away from me when we first moved to Ventura area, which that never ended up happening because all of his allegations were actually either twisted or false. So then he did it again, and some of the stuff in his court hearing paperwork was so outrageously false. I just was like, what? Like, no, that never happened that way. Something about London said that I made him do a presentation over again because he didn't make eye contact with me. No, nope, that didn't happen. I did talk to him afterwards because, like outside of the classroom, I talked with him and I was like, is everything okay? Like, you know, like, I'm sure that, he probably, well, I know for a fact actually, that he spoke badly about me to his friends. And so, poor kid was just probably embarrassed to have his mom there. Um, anyhow, um, the whole thing makes me really sad because we used to have a really great relationship and loving, nurturing, laughing together. And the whole thing just makes me really sad. What ended up happening was right after that, I was so shocked. So shocked by what had happened and physically hurt all over me. I had like bruises and bite marks and just in shock. Shocked. Like, he called me names, he cussed me out, like, I couldn't believe this was my son. Like, what? Where did London go? Anyhow, um, right afterwards, because he'd created such a disturbance in the house, um, and was so physical with me, um, that aspect of it had to be corrected. Um, so I had said he needs to uh, understand that, this kind of behavior is like not cool. I God forbid if he were to lash out like this and be this physical with, I don't know, with his girlfriend or a future people, whatever. I don't know. But I was willing to do anything therapeutic to help him with this situation. Um, and So I had let his dad know what had happened. I knew by this time, like, oh, you know, their dad is probably just real smug right now about, oh yes, of course, very concerned, and oh my gosh, what did she do to you, and what did she, this sort of thing. But he was probably inwardly very smug about the fact, like, I won, I got the kids. I knew there would be nothing I could say that he would even take anything I said as real or true. Like, he would completely side with them because it supports the whole agenda and narrative and all of that sort of stuff about how bad I am and how horrible I am. And um it really is quite demeaning and degrading. um Anyhow, I'm strong, right? Not that kind of, I don't mean like, I mean like, um um so he took them, he came out, he took them. I was sitting on the floor of their room crying, and they left. And I had a conversation with my daughter. Not now. I begged her, like, please, please don't go. She told me that that she had to, and she also told me that about everything that had been happening. She said that their dad had been talking with them for months and months about leaving my care and residence and going to live with him and leaving me. And that is like a horrible position to put a child in, by the way. Uh, um, Only a monster would do that, to try to turn the other parent away, like turn the kids away from their parent. Um, Anyhow, she told me about that he'd been discussing it with them for many, many months, and she was in tears, and she didn't like this, thing that had been built up between London and I, either. But she said, Mom, you don't know how much I've defended you to Dad, how much I've stood up for you, which told me that there were lots of things said to defend me against. Anyway, Um, and then I knew this was bad. You know, I knew that it was bad. Um, I had no idea how much was going on in the background till she told me about stuff. I knew that Leif was gonna do whatever he could to keep the kids completely away from me, um, and use it all against me. Um, I knew it would completely destroy my relationship with them. She called me toxic for asking her to stay with me. Or asking her, yeah. Um, anyway, I highly doubt anybody has actually listened to this whole story, horrific story. Um, if you have, thanks for listening. I just have to say that um, the process of slowly and then suddenly losing your children is a pain that no parent should ever have to go through. Due to the stress, um, uh, emotional and financial trauma of obviously he stopped paying child support that month so that he could then get his new big house, which he did within about a month after that. Month and a half. Yeah, in April. Um, uh, I lost my job after that. Um, I was so tormented. I could barely focus on anything. And I was so. Uh, I don't know how to describe it. Um, in shock. And um, I found my job was already really stressful. um, I was doing basically the job of four people. Um, it was very like actually I don't even know how the last person before me did as much as she did or stayed there as long as she did, because what they were asking of me was basically the marketing director over four companies plus the PR director or events coordinator. Like, it's just insane. And then I had like three people chasing things up from me all day long. Oh, is this done yet? Is that done yet? What about this? What about that? Reporting to their bosses. I'm just like, oh my God, it was so stressful. And I was so. I'd only just gotten this job in January of this year after having been out of work uh, for, you know, about 3 months, just doing odd jobs and, gigs and projects, here and there. Um, so, and I, again, Grant is my rock. He and I had been, you know, struck things up again in 2024. We've been through so much, but yeah, and things were, pretty good with us for a while. But when this stuff happened with my kids, 3 months ago now, yeah, 3 months ago, it really kind of put a strain on our relationship. But we were like this, like, and I mean, we still are. It's just, it's it has put a strain there. And um, I decided to stay here for at least a while longer to try to get my kids back and try to make a go of it. Try to. It's been really hard. Basically, I had to move out of the home that we'd had for almost 3 years. Um, couldn't afford it anymore. So I lost my job. I child support stopped, so my income was drying up. So I knew, okay, I'm not going to be able to sustain this. I've got to emergency move out, and it took me 6 days with my car moving everything out of that place and putting it all into storage. So after that, I gave it a little while, but then about a week later or something like that, I tried reaching out to the kids and, you know, trying to patch things up and repair, you know, some things. I stayed in an Airbnb for about a month, and it was really nice there. It was so nice to just kind of get out of the away from where that stuff was happening, and it was really peaceful, really nice. Although, yeah, anyway, there were a couple of people there that were a little dodgy. But anyhow, I then, as my income was drying up, I was still having a hard time focusing on anything for at least a couple months, month and a half. I basically kind of moved into an office. um, because it's, a lot less expensive. Um, um, and then I really kind of just, dug my heels in and just kind of trying to focus on uh, rebuilding my uh, AI marketing agency. It's taken quite a bit of effort. I'm not quite there yet. So, um, it's been really hard, and I've been really scared and worried. And so, yeah, back to with Grant. I know he's had things that he's helped me out a lot. Um, he's helped me out financially. Um, he his care and attention has been a real godsend. I don't know what I would have done without him. I do love him very much. Um, and yeah, at this point, we're at the point where we're like, okay, we're going to see if we can make this work. And then we're going to go from there, basically. So, yeah, it's just basically, you know, it's hard to always stay lighthearted when you're under a lot of like financial and emotional pressure and stress. Uh, there are many days where I just like spiral. I just kind of go, or cry. So, yeah, we did have our court case. It took me so many hours to put together to try to figure out how to do it on my own legally without any legal help because I can't afford it. Um, uh, and I put together a response and a lot of evidence and documentation and so on, including Leif's police reports from Boulder. DV. You know, I don't know what goes on with them. I don't know. One time when I met up with Nadia, she said to me, I did manage to actually see the kids and give them some of their things. I had to go through his lawyer, and I had to be very insistent and very persistent, and no, I want to see my kids, please, you know. London wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't even shake my hand. I brought them ice cream, and at one point Nadia and I went, so it was only like a 15-20 minute, got to see them. That was on March 30th. At one point, Nadia told me, because I was like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Like, she kept saying, oh, London's a little shit. I don't know what's wrong with him, you know, because he just wouldn't even say thank you. He sneered at me, and I was pretty hurt by that. Anyhow, I walked away. Nadia came with me. We went for a little walk. She told me, at one point she said, yeah, sometimes I do get kind of sick of them, you know, like they're basically like the same person. So I worry about them, but there's nothing I can do right now. So at the court hearing, I had prepared something to say, but it was cut short after a couple minutes. My side wasn't really heard. So I'm going to try to, I'm going to do the next step, basically. Ideally, I just want to have a good relationship with my kids. I want them to know that I love them very much, and I want everyone to do well, and I would like to be able to have a relationship with them. Right now, both kids don't talk to me. Ghost me, you know. I'm not insistent with my communication with them. I just maybe send them a meme or some photos or something like that sometimes. But now, even my daughter is not talking to me. I know she's kind of been, sucked into the whole vortex of, oh, my mom is this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, well, I just want to say I really did try my best to be there for them, be present. I worked hard to provide a life for us, um, provide clothes for them, and supplies, and food, and cook for them, and help them wherever I could. And um, I just would like to be able to have a relationship with them. Anyway, what I was saying before was that basically through a lot of looking into it, I realized what had been happening along with her statement to me. And then as I started looking into it, more things kind of popped up, and I went, oh yeah, that too. Because there's like these trained experts that are trained at like spotting this stuff, even like forensically, like they're trained. And I went, holy crap, yeah, that did it, you know. And imagine trying to parent in the face of that, with that stuff going on in the background, beneath your awareness. Like you're not aware that this is really happening. I mean, you know that it probably could be, but you don't know exactly to what extent or anything like that. And then you just can't figure out like what is going on, you know? It's really a very traumatic and painful thing to go through. And listen, not every parent is like no parent is perfect, but a parent who is loving and available, provides for their kids, through thick or thin, they make the dinner, they, like they go on walks with them, they try to, uh, be there for them. And I believe every kid deserves to have both parents in their lives. But if one parent has to fight to be a part of a kid's life, they're with the wrong parent. So, this has been very long. Holy shit. Sorry. I love you. Your mom will always love you no matter what. And I really don't know what's going to happen from here, but I would like things to work out, and I would like things to, I want to be with my favorite people. That includes my kids, Grant, some other friends, yeah, a bunch of friends who are not really local at this time, but sorry, this has been long. Thank you for listening if you have. So I will keep on keeping on, I guess. I don't know where I'm going to be next month. It's been a struggle to make income, and at the moment anyway. Who knows? I may have a breakthrough. Anyway, wish me luck, eh? I just want to say also that before this happened, Grant and I had been talking about, well, the plan was for him to come out here in the summer. That's what we were talking about over the holidays. And things changed. I miss him a lot. I know he wouldn't watch this whole long stupid thing. It's lonely, and it's hard to get myself to. I mean, I have been working on stuff, but I think my main thing at this point is sales. I like talking to people, and I can talk about the stuff that I work with and do. I don't know, for some reason I just feel like I haven't quite developed that I don't know, found my footing with it yet. So I know I look really ugly right now. My hair is bad. I haven't got my hair done in a long time. I have a puffy face. I've been crying a lot. I haven't been drinking enough water. I put weight on. Da 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 da. Yes. Cheers. I will try to make more video blogs that are not so doom and gloom, and maybe even pull my finger out and like actually create some valuable content. You know, this isn't content, this is just my life, you know, but you know, like actually teach people how to use the software that I work with and do demonstrations and stuff like that so that I can sell it, so that I can actually make some money and like help some other people with it, you know. So that's the idea. You know, they say that like when you help others, it kind of ends up helping you in a certain way very often. Yeah, it's just, you know, man, cold calling. I really don't like doing it. I don't like cold calling. So I've been working on a webinar, which it's almost done. I need to finish that. I don't know, though. It's almost the end of the month. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make enough to sustain myself here into the next month. I have, oh, by the way, I kind of bought a motorcycle because I sold the car. But yeah, so I guess I could sell that. Bummer. Yeah. So I will do that. I miss you, kiddos. very much. You're a big part of my life. Your dad knows that. Well, yeah, perfect opportunity to strike me down, huh? Take away the one part of me that I've been working so hard for about 15 years. Yep, my daughter's 14, my son is 12. So, including the pregnancy and all the, building a home for them and homeschooling them throughout the years and stuff like that. Everything I was building was to be able to build a future for us. And it was really unfortunate where I lost my job of like $80,000 a year. Well, I had some savings, and that's kind of gone now. So I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully some kind of miracle will happen.